So I'm getting ready to start loading, and I want to go through my route today. I'll make sure I got it correct on the Garmin device and everything's good. So I was going through my route here. My destination is Redmond, Oregon, which is going to be, the way I have it plotted right now, it's going to be about 158 miles. Going through the, which forest is this? This is the Deschutes National Forest, this section right here. But I thought I'd better take a look at Google and see if there's any reported wildfire activity. So I went in here and activated the wildfire layer on Google Maps, which is this right here. And it turns out there are a couple fires on my route. I was originally planning on coming down this 26, and it looks like this fire is on both sides of Route 26. But when I click on the fire report, it doesn't say anything about road closures. It says 0% contained, 4 square kilometers, which I can't even get a grip of if that's big or not. I don't know. You know, you hear them talking about hundreds and thousands of acres of wildfires sometimes, but estimated fire area, medium smoke, heavy smoke, doesn't say anything about road closures. But it would be no problem for me to turn around and loop out and around some other route if I encounter that. But that's not the only one. There's another one. I was originally planning on coming down this 26 and going through Madras and crossing over 97 and continuing on 26 here. There's another one here, the Grizzly Flat Fire. This one says 90% or 95% contained. That also doesn't say anything about any road closures or anything. So I'm going to go for it. If I got to turn around at some point, I'll do that. But it's good to know I might encounter those things. Alright, 10:57. I made it before 11. I didn't really have a time target. The only time marker I had was hotel checkout was by noon. I definitely wanted to be out of there by then. But these, first couple days, the load up is slow. It'll get faster as time goes on. And I continue to refine my organization. If I can just keep track of what goes in what bag, I gotta make a little better effort at not mixing shit up and putting it back in the same bag. I have 4 bags, 5 if you count the backpack. The hotel was nice, no complaints. Clean, bed was comfortable, it was quiet. They didn't have breakfast, but they did have a deal with a restaurant next door to provide complimentary breakfast, which is pretty good. It's this place here. I'm going to do something today that I don't ordinarily do on my routing. I'm actually going to use an interstate.
my original routing was to go back east the same way I came on the north side of the Columbia River. But that ride was a little rough. It was very windy. It was higher speed, 2 lanes most of the time, and a lot of trucks. So I reevaluated and decided to run that stretch up 84, which is the interstate on the south side of the Columbia River going eastbound. I'll only have to do that for, I don't know, a few miles, but is this Wythe Road? I hope. Historic Oregon US 30. So, you know, I'm always conflicted about 2-lane lower speed roads like this one right here versus at least multiple lane interstate controlled access highways where the speeds are a little higher. They each have their benefits. I probably get the most stress from cars coming up behind me and pressuring me to go faster, or pressuring me to pass. You know, at least on an interstate, you have at least 2 lanes, so presumably there's a passing lane that can get by. And usually they're wider. Usually there's a large shoulder that you could pull off if you had to. There's no intersections. I don't know, but on interstate you can encounter people going 100 miles an hour. So I don't know, but I've decided to run that stretch of it up the interstate. Looked like a paved biking trail on the right there. I'm gonna check the map one more time to make sure I can't stay on this road. Lola's telling me I need to turn here and get on the... Yeah, I can't go straight. So that answers that. Hood River. Okay, here we go for the interstate. Here we go. Boy, that's pretty. Hood River, next 3 exits. 1.7 miles. Exit 6-2. Hood River gas, 1.5 miles. Okay, I'm gonna hit the first gas station I see. Top her off. Pumps are wide open. .6 again. Yeah, I asked the bartender last night at the brewery why that bridge is called Bridge of the Gods. And And he said there's two different stories. The first one is Native American legend, where there was a rock slide of some sort right there at that location, which created a natural bridge over the Columbia River. Now, this thing that I read later, it had a conflict as to whether or not the river was blocked or if it was a bridge, but the people in that time really wanted to be on the other side of the river, so they considered this rock slide that created a natural crossing of the river to be a gift of the gods. So they call it Bridge of the Gods. And then there's another story, something about two brothers were fighting over a girl or something. I don't know. I didn't really get a hold of that story. Wow, that's nice. America. Oh, that's the site. Okay, this is the town of Mount Hood. 281. I should look at that. Can I take that maybe? Could take that. I could take that. Am I in first gear? What gear am I in? I'm gonna go back and take that turn. I'm gonna get on this road right here. Hump that down into there. Keep on trucking. Does it eventually meet back out? Yeah. Maybe I don't want to go quite that far, but that is just really cool. Okay, this will be a route adaptation by me, not by Lola. This road here just looks like it's a lower volume road, maybe more scenic, maybe less trucks. Let's see what happens. Lola's gonna be yelling at me. Mount Hood Country Store. That's kind of cool. This is a really nice stretch of twisties. Lola's still yelling at me to make a U-turn. "24 miles until my turn on to 26. And somewhere on 26, I don't know how far, is where those reported fires were. I don't see any indication of fire right now. Air is pretty clear. Look at that, a Shebadoon, middle of nowhere. I blew right by it. I don't know if I ever explained Shebadoon, but I'm not going to give the full story. Let's just say I encountered a person who used English as a second language, and he pronounced chevron Shebadoon. There. That's a simplification of the story. Mount Hood National Forest, Frog Lake. Let's see what's up ahead. Open range, next 8 miles. Yeah, now that white car is behind me. And there's another vehicle behind it, not far. Got 72 miles to go total. It's Redmond, according to Lola. 23 miles till my turn. Still no sign anywhere of any fire or smoke or anything. Almost there. 10 miles to go.
Kind of an uneventful day, I guess. If you stuck with it this far, I really appreciate it. According to my track recorder, it was only about 153 miles over about 3.5 hours of moving time. I never did see any fires or even any smoky skies. I guess that's a good thing, though. I ended up pushing the super easy button for dinner and walked across the parking lot to a Burger King for a burger. I must have had a beer or two in there somewhere, but I have no photographic evidence of that for some reason. Tomorrow I'm continuing southbound through central and western Oregon, heading from Medford. That'll be around 200 miles. Please check back for that video, and thanks for watching.